Rivers, little trouble with the snap. He'll battle his way ahead for a gain of about 3 yards. There's a flag on the play, though.
And it's looking like it is against Annapolis.
Legal formation on the offense. Penalties decline. 4th down.
And that's about as good an opening series for the Garden City defense as you could hope for. 3 plays that went absolutely nowhere for Annapolis. And like you said, Dan, first week against Melvindale, we saw a lot of the passing game from Garden City. And then last week against Romulus, it was the run game. So the kids on offense should feel confident that they can score and move the ball in a multitude of ways.
Nazarowski deep for Garden City after Reese on the punt. And that will be down at about the 49-yard line. 1st and 10 for Garden City at their own 49 on that big, bright orange Cougar paw in the middle of the field here at Garden City High School. And Nate Wassel, the quarterback for Garden City, will be under center to start this one off.
3rd varsity start for Nate Wassel, and already 2-0 in his young career as the Cougars' starting quarterback.
He had 200 yards passing against Melvindale in that opening game here at Garden City High School. Again, they went more on the ground to Nazarowski in game number 2 at Romulus.
Yeah, and it was that Wassel to Grant connection, Robert Grant, that we saw in that first game. So those two already have a bit of a rapport.
And Wassel will take it himself. Wassel will pick up the 1st down and a couple of more. Wassel on the very first play with Annapolis focused on Nazarowski. And a quick run for a 1st down.
Yeah, they just sent Nazarowski out to the right side a little bit just before the ball was snapped. Kind of got the defense off balance a little bit, and then 2 linemen pulled off to the left side. And it was great blocking by the offensive line from Garden City. Wassel able to follow his blockers and get the 1st down on the first play from scrimmage.
So 1st and 10, we'll call it the 38-yard line for Garden City. Garden City wearing their royal blue uniforms.
I like the all-blue look, Dan.
I do too. Wassel from the shotgun. Quick pass is complete, but a loss on the play. Quick pass to McGraw.
Great hit there by Corey Ballard on the stop over on Owen McGraw. It's a loss of 2 for Garden City Cougars.
So 2nd down, 12 for Garden City. At about the 39-yard line. We talked about it the last game that the referees aren't really supposed to handle the football. The players themselves are supposed to put it down where it is spotted.
Still working through these different guidelines and regulations so far in the early season.
Give to Nazarowski. He's got a nice couple of blocks. Nazarowski fights his way over the 30-yard line. Nazarowski with a gain of about 9 yards on that play.
And that was pretty much the same play that Wassel ran on the first play of this drive, just to the right side this time. And it's looking like that's going to be there consistently for Garden City. And they established that run early in this game. They'll be able to keep moving the ball. Already at the 30-yard line, the 3rd down here for Garden City.
So crucial 3rd down play, and a pass is completed over the middle to Grant. And Grant into the end zone for the touchdown. Robert Grant across the middle for the score. About a 32-yard pass play. Grant from Wassel.
And it was just a simple slant route from Grant out by the numbers, cut back inside to the middle of the field, and he was wide open. Easy pass for Wassel to hit him just about 5 or 10 yards downfield from his initial spot, and he cruises into the end zone.
And Tisney has a broken play on the PAT attempt. So Garden City doesn't make the extra point, but they do have a 6-0 lead with 7:38 remaining in the first quarter of this one, and a very efficient drive by Garden City.
It was. They established the run early on the first few plays and then convinced Annapolis that that is what they're going to keep doing, and then that's when you throw in a pass play. And it was on a 3rd and short, too. You think that that's a situation that's tailor-made for this Garden City run game to pound their way for a first down. But it caught the Annapolis defense off guard, simple slant route, and that's what left the middle of the field so wide open, is because Annapolis sold out on the run on that play. And it resulted in a Garden City touchdown, and it ate up some clock, too, as well. We'll see if the defense is able to hold serve after a great first defensive possession against Annapolis.
Well, there are a lot of people outside the field tonight watching this one, even more the other day when it was warmer. Kickoff taken, I believe, by Wood. I cannot see his number, but he gets his way over the 45-yard line. That was Wood.
Yeah, and we were just discussing before the game, Dan. We believe going into effect next week, we'll have expanded spectator allowance in the stadium here. Although this is the last home game, but
last home game for Garden City.
You can come out and see the JV and freshman teams.
And
though.
I think, well, we have to wait and see about that. I think that's going to be a league-wide decision, whether or not they're going to expand the amount of people allowed into the stadium. The ruling from the governor is 1,000 people. I believe the MHSAA has bought into it, but I believe our league will still have to meet and make a decision as to whether or not they're going to allow more than what they do now, which is 2 parents per player right now. So on the shotgun handoff, and right there again, already having a monster game is Chaz Tennant. He is having a great game, and he's just gotten started.
And it seems like it snuck up on us, but this is senior night for Garden City. Only 2 of the 6 games that they are set to play this year are at home, and this is game number 3 of the season, but the second home game. The last 3 games of the regular season will be on the road. And now it'll be Annapolis ball. It's going to be 2nd and 10 at about the 47-yard line, and that is where Rivers will set up in the gun.
And Rivers with 2 men in the backfield will give it to the second one. And a fumble on the play. Let's see who got it. That was Mike Bodette, who carried the football. He fumbled. Not a lot of reaction from either team. And it's Garden City's football. That was Dantes Tinsley, I believe, that handed the football to the referee. So a turnover for Annapolis and a tough break for the other Cougars to start this one off.
I was almost expecting it to be Annapolis' ball, like you said, Dan. Not much reaction from either side. And, yeah, you can
And even from that angle, you can't tell.
Right.
But there's a lot of blue jerseys there.
Right.
So Garden City will get the football at their own 47-yard line. They lead it 6-0 here midway through the first quarter at Garden City High School. And the give is to Nazarowski. Nazarowski battles his way to a first down.
That's just poor tackling by Annapolis. Nazarowski was met after some great blocking by the Garden City offensive line about 5 or 6 yards downfield, but missed tackles by Annapolis allowed Nazarowski to fight forward for another 5 or 6 and get the first down on the play.
And a great job by Wassel to stay right with him and make that last-second decision as to who's going to end up with the football. So 1st and 10 at the 41-yard line of Annapolis. Grant wide out to this side. And normally if he comes wide, he's going to see the ball. This time it's not. Nazarowski. There's a flag on the play. Nazarowski battles his way ahead over the 35-yard line, but a flag in the backfield, which I assume will be holding against Garden City.
Still, that run play is there on the outside. Garden City has run that consistently to good results in this first quarter. The run game is working so far here.
Blocking in the back. Offense. 10 yards from the spot. Repeat first down.
So a tough penalty for Garden City after a nice game by Nazarowski, but this one is coming back.
Yep, right around midfield is where Garden City will be backed up to, and it'll be First and 18. We got to be confident that Garden City will be able to pick this up despite being backed up behind the line of scrimmage so far. Good mix of passing and running so far.
First and 18. This one is intended for Grant. I don't think it was catchable.
No, the Garden City coaching staff will want a flag on that, but it was too far over the head of Grant to be able to make the catch, and that's going to put Garden City in that 2nd and 18 hole.
Yeah, there's contact with Robert Brown, and honestly, he did knock him down, but it was an uncatchable pass.
There is a flag.
Eligible man downfield on the
Well, it
offense.
gets a little worse now for
5
Garden City.
yards, repeat first down. Oh, I'm sorry, penalties decline, 2nd down.
So 2nd down and 18 for Garden City as Annapolis will decline the penalty. So Garden City with a couple of consecutive penalties on this drive.
So far, that's looking like the only thing that has been doing in Garden City, not necessarily Annapolis, but
Well, there's a little trouble with the snap.
self-imposed mistakes.
Wassel wisely holds up to it. Wassel along the sideline, and Wassel brings it up over the 40-yard line and makes it more manageable for Garden City.
Way to make something out of nothing for Nathan Wassel. That could have been a disastrous play. As we take a look here, he sneaks out of the line. We missed the part where he bobbled the snap, but able to gain about 10 yards on the play. And
Nice
as you
job.
said, Aaron, put him in a very manageable 3rd and about 7 yards to go after being in that 2nd and 18 hole.
So Gavin Gephardt will come off the field for Garden City on this one. There's the snap. Quick give to Nazarowski. Nazarowski picks up just a couple. Nice open field tackle for Annapolis by Robert Newsom.
And I would have to think that this is 4-down territory for Garden City. You're kind of in no man's land. And the run game has been solid so far, but the defense has looked even better. So even if you give Annapolis the ball at about the 37-yard line is where the ball is right now, defense is playing with a lot of confidence.
As you said, they're in no man's land. Grant could punt the ball from here, but they'll try to convert it. 2 wideouts to this side for Garden City. And a hard snap count, and Garden City is either going to pick up a first down or get very close to a first down as Annapolis jumps offside.
Dead ball. False start.
Oh, goodness.
Oh,
Offense.
no.
5 yards.
Thought that
repeat
was going to
fourth
go
down.
against Annapolis for sure.
It sure looked like it. I mean, you had 2 defensive linemen from Annapolis jump into the neutral zone pretty much at the same time. And this might, and it will,
Now it's
force
gonna be a
Garden
punt.
City into a punting situation here. Backing the ball up to about the 42-yard line and looking to pin Annapolis deep here.
So Robert Brown will go deep. And Grant will punt for the Cougars. He's averaging about 24 yards a punt, and that's a perfect punt in this circumstance right there. Picked up and immediately tackled is Robert Brown.
I'm
So-
honestly surprised that Brown picked that up just because of the bounce it took. It looked like it was bouncing back towards the Garden City end of the field, which means he kind of caught it in stride, but he had 3 Cougars barreling down on him at the same time and only picked up a couple yards after that.
We talked about the fact that it is another cool night. So the last time we did a game here, there was also a freeze warning. That was very early in the season. There is a freeze warning again tonight. It's a little later in the season, but still significantly below normal, 52 degrees when we kicked off. Very ominous clouds in the area, but no threat of rain. Just a very fall-looking evening here in southeastern Michigan.
Yep, we are getting into peak fall weather here as we just turn the calendar to October.
And Darius Reese with the carry. And he comes very close to a first down if he didn't already make it. And he did make it. So 1st and 10 at the 26-yard line for Annapolis, so they pick up the first down as Reese with a nice run on the handoff.
And it's been a tight opening first quarter. Good drive by Garden City getting on the scoreboard first, but things have kind of stalled from both sides now as we approach the end of the first.
Well, still pretty early on in this one. And there's a pitch to Ballard, and Ballard near the sideline, and Ballard is knocked out of bounds at about the 35-yard line. So Ballard with a big run from the 26-yard line gets into Garden City territory. Let's watch it again. Nice run.
Yeah, just turned the left corner, and there was no one out there. Able to get out into Garden City territory near the 40-yard line before he was knocked out.
So a 35-yard run for Ballard.
In these tight games like this, as we've seen so far in this first quarter and throughout the first two games for both of these teams, I hope that extra point miss doesn't come back to bite you at some point.
So Rivers flips it to Ballard. Garden City's defense in pursuit and hauled down by Nazarowski.
Fantastic play by Nazarowski coming up from the defensive backfield like an unguided missile, taking him down well behind the line of scrimmage. That's going to be a loss of about 7 on the play.
So nice defensive play by Garden City after they gave up the 25 after the big run. Already forgot how long it was. So second down, we'll call it 15 on the spot. Thanks for joining us live on Facebook, YouTube, and on GCTV tonight. My thanks to all of our volunteers and the folks that are helping us out with this broadcast. We're a little short-manned, short-staffed tonight. As you see the handoff to Ronald Payne, and another great job by the Garden City defensive line.
Yep, Payne, a bit of a stocky running back there at 5'10 and 190, and he was met right at the line of scrimmage, 15 yards behind the first down marker, but just able to move his legs, able to get something out of nothing, but still a very deep hole that Annapolis is in here.
Yeah, Hunter Oman with the tackle there. And Annapolis now with the third down and 12 at the Garden City 42. So a big down for Annapolis, also probably 4-down territory where we're at. Rivers back to pass. Pressure. He's going to try to run it himself. He won't make the first down. Referee needs to blow the whistle. That play had been over for a while. Nazarowski and Tennant in on the stop for Garden City. So that brings up a 4th down and a long 5 or a short 6.
And it looks like they are sending the punt unit out, but just on that drive, Dan, we can see how fast the skill position players are for Annapolis. They have some major speed, so it's important that the Garden City defense all fly to the ball at once.
And the special team unit was called back.
Oh, it looks
so
like
it looks like they're going to go for it. They need to worry about a delay of game penalty right here. And this could be a decoy, too.
And Garden City's the one to take the timeout.
That's interesting. They took Annapolis off the hook for a potential delay of game penalty. I guess they weren't sure what to do with an actual play rather than a punt.
Right, they must not have liked the alignment that their defense was in, looking at that Annapolis line coming up. But, I mean, the pressure was on Annapolis. The play clock was winding down, and delay a game definitely would have put them in a punt situation similar to what Garden City had to deal with on the other end with their penalties.
So it will be interesting to see what Annapolis decides to do coming out of this timeout. Let's take a look at the standings in the Western Wayne Athletic Conference. As we mentioned, Garden City 2-0 along with Crestwood. Robichaud 1-1, Thurston 1-1, RU 1-1, Romulus 1-1, and then Annapolis and Melvindale both come into this 0-2. Everybody will have a non-conference game at the end of the season, so everybody's conference record will only be one game off, or their overall record will only be one game off of their conference record. So 4th down and 6. Here we go. Rivers with a hard count. Pitches it. Garden City's defense right there. Tennant, Omen.
Yep, Grant was the first one there coming from
Tennant, Omen, and Grant. So Annapolis turns it over on downs, and it's 1st and 10 for Garden City. And you saw that Garden City and Crestwood both 2-0 on the season. Garden City will travel to Crestwood in a couple of weeks. That will be their last conference game of 2020. A pretty good rivalry has developed between Garden City and Crestwood. Obviously the closest team to them geographically, and their games, especially in soccer and basketball and football, get a little chippy. As you see Wassel on the quarterback keeper, he'll pick up about 7.
And Wassel plenty capable of running the ball himself. He had 53 yards on the ground last week and scored both touchdowns for Garden City. So they have confidence in him to be able to not only throw the ball but run the ball as well, picking up 8 there. Back to what you said, Dan, about playing Crestwood in a couple of weeks. Could have major conference title implications on the line if all goes well for the Cougars.
And that'll be the end of the first quarter. Garden City with a 6-0 lead early on in this one. We mentioned everybody makes the playoffs in 2020. At one point, the rule was you had to have at least played 4 games, but the MHSAA looks like they might be wavering even on that rule. We want to thank our friends across the street at Incorporate, Jim Neve, Sharon Giangrande, and all of our friends there that continue to provide all of the great swag for Omnidition Sports and GCTV as leagues start to reform and everybody starts to get back to normal a little bit, be it with a mask or not. They're the place to go to get your T-shirts, your jerseys, your jackets, all stuff you can get ordered for Christmas, as a matter of fact. So check them out. Go to their website, incorporategraphics.com, incorporategraphics.com, and tell them that Omnidition Television sent you. And they still might let you in anyways.
But we're not positive.
We're not positive. Yeah, I wouldn't lead with that now that I think about it. I wouldn't lead with that. So Garden City with the 2nd down and about 3 yards to go. They'll be going to the north now with the switch over at in between quarters. Again, I am fascinated by the amount of people outside watching this on the hill. Way more people than the last game, and it's way colder than it was at the last game.
It is, too.
Across
I
the
think
street,
maybe
there's dozens of cars.
I think word maybe finally got out after the first game that everyone was going out there and thought it was a good idea.
Yeah. I have a feeling that will continue to live on after the pandemic is over, as you see Nazarowski picks up the 1st down.
And that play has just been there all day or all night for Garden City. Just pull a couple guards on the play, lead off one way or the other, follow them. And I got to say, the Garden City offensive line, when they pull one way or the other, they do a great job at getting upfield and blocking downfield for the running backs, for Wassel, and able to get big chunks of yardage and now into Annapolis territory looking to score again.
Well, again, with Tennant and Omen in the middle, that is some serious poundage as you see this one go to the left side. And about a 5-yard gain on that play. Ball up to about the 37-yard line for the quarterback.
There's another 9 yards.
Well, I thought it was only 5, but yes, they gave him a 1st down.
Moving the ball, moving the chains now.
I thought that was a lot less of a gain than that. Wow.
Keep the clock moving here, and Garden City's starting to rack up some yardage on the ground now. we've only seen the one pass, and that was the touchdown pass to Grant. Everything else has been on the ground. And there's a handoff to the left side to Nazarowski. Tries to cut it back to the inside, and he's going to gain about another 5 or 6.
And there's a loose ball late.
Got the ball loose.
But I think the play was over. As Nazarowski hands the football over to the official.
Just to assure us that Garden City has the ball. Still another 8 yards on the ground. Garden City really starting to gash them in the run game now. Yeah, we were talking before the game, Dan, about we expect most of the teams for Garden City to play and they themselves just to have very limited rosters. That's what we've seen so far, so conditioning is going to be a big thing for the Cougars.
Quarterback keeper for Wassel. Annapolis bid as they thought the handoff was to Nazarowski, and Wassel is going to trot into the end zone with a touchdown, but I
think they're saying he stepped out around the 3 or 4 yard line.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. So 1st and goal now for Garden City.
Well, he put a great move on one of the defensive backs out there, though. A little bit of a juke move to cut it back outside, but his heel must have just touched outside as we take another look at it. Out to the right side. Let the guy go right by him.
Yeah, there's the great move.
Try to see if we can see the foot.
Yeah, he's already out by then.
Yep, his toe was just out.
So with 9:41 remaining in the first half, Garden City on the doorstep.
So now you got to wonder if Wassel might keep the ball again here. Although they're going under center, and there's a keeper.
They're just going to shove him into the end zone. Did he make it? He got the push from his running back. They may only give him 2 yards on that.
Yeah, he had those 2 rushing touchdowns a week ago here, so he is just as much a threat to put this in as Nazarowski is. As Nazarowski now looks like he's coming out of the game. We're getting the play call. And Garden City in a good position here. Take as much time as you need. Try to run some time off the clock as well. Still early in the second quarter.
So Nazarowski back off the bench with the play. I imagine this will be another quarterback keeper.
Just a yard out of the end zone.
They better get out of the huddle. They're going to be very close to a delay of game, and there it is. Unless Garden City called timeout.
Delay a game.
Yeah, they were
on
just
the offense,
a little too
5
lackadaisical
yards,
about that.
Repeat 2nd down.
You can kind of see that coming.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for taking your time and running some time off the clock, but got to have a bit more sense of urgency than that. I mean, you are on the 1 yard line, but it's not a foregone conclusion that you're going into the end zone right now.
So 2nd down and 7.
So now this changes the dynamic of what Garden City is going to run. We saw the last 2 plays with Wassel under center. We'll see if this puts him back in the gun. And if Garden City will run more of their traditional set, pulling their guards.
Here's a pass. And Robert Grant into the end zone. Touchdown, Garden City.
And there is a flag for celebrating.
All right, so that will not negate the touchdown.
Grant dunking the ball in the goalpost there, and immediately got a flag from the officials.
Dead ball, unsportsmanlike conduct on the offense.
Here's the touchdown.
Penalty assessed on the kickoff.
Grant all by himself. And there you go.
Goes up there and
there's your 5 yards.
Dunks the ball and
there's your penalty.
Just the simple slant play again. Both passes for Garden City have gone for touchdowns this year this game, and Coach Fryer not happy. The excessive celebration.
No, and they'll use their 2nd timeout right now. Oh, he's not happy. Fryer is not happy.
We've all seen that look before, and you don't want to be on the wrong end of it.
And now the hand around, and now the arm around the shoulder. So Garden City with a 12-0 lead here. We'll see if they set it back up and try to get this back to 14, or if they decide to kick the extra point.
And it looks like Hunter Oman was the one getting the brunt of that Steve Fryer, let's call it frustration. So
Steve Fryer, an incredible athlete himself in high school and a great football player.
So Garden City with the decision, go for 2, make it that 2-score game. And in these tight games in the Western Wayne Athletic Conference, every point counts. Annapolis has been outscored by a total of 5 points this season.
And Garden City's 2 wins have both been very close, too.
They're only plus 10 on the year.
Right.
So, I mean, every point is going to count. Neither team scoring over 20 this season. So, I mean, who knows? A 12-0 game could be our final score, a 12-7 game.
So Garden City lines it up, and they'll go for the 2-point conversion. Give to Nazarowski. Nazarowski makes his move. Nazarowski into the end zone. The 2-point conversion attempt is good. Garden City gets it back to, or gets it to 2 touchdowns, 14-0.
And just a simple run play off the left tackle and able to cruise into the end zone. Very effective drive there by the Garden City Cougars, able to put 8 up on the board on that drive. Still lots of time left in this second quarter, but they are playing confident. They're playing loose on both sides of the ball. The defense has come up huge on a lot of plays as well.
So this year, the district setup is a little bit different in that, again, everybody will make it to the districts, and Garden City's district is just downright brutal. They are in a district with Birmingham Brother Rice, Chelsea, which is about the 3rd largest college in Michigan if you've seen their campus.
Yes.
Divine Child, Orchard Lake St. Mary's, Pinckney, Thurston, and South Lyon East. Boys, good luck. Oh, my goodness.
So in that district alone, you have 3 teams that are consistent state title winners in Brother Rice, Chelsea, and Orchard Lake and St. Mary's. I believe Chelsea was just there a couple years ago, I think for Division 4.
Here's a short kick into the middle as Garden City, I think, trying to pick up the pooch.
There's going to be a block in the back.
This one's coming back as Dominic Wood brings it back up to about the 45-yard line, but a flag on the play.
Yeah, the official on the far sideline was all over that one.
So a break for Garden City.
Legal blindside block on the receiving team, 15 yards from the spot, first down.
So what could have been decent field position now for Annapolis causes them to get pushed back.
Yeah, a lot of times if someone's getting big yardage like that, there's usually a reason for it. And we saw it happen to Garden City earlier with a block in the back from one of their receivers out on the outside, now against Annapolis on that kick return.
So Annapolis will get pushed all the way back to the 25-yard line. They'll have a lot of real estate between them and the end zone, and a Garden City defense that have been playing outstanding here tonight.
Yep, already with 1 takeaway so far tonight. Chance to put more pressure on Annapolis, who's facing a 2-touchdown deficit.
Rivers back under center. He goes back to pass, but he can't find anything, and he'll try to make something out of this play, but he'll be eaten up after about a 3-yard gain. Again, Garden City and their swarming defense here tonight.
And most of the time in the high school game, as soon as you flush a kid out of the pocket from the quarterback, they have their eyes kind of looking down, ready to take off with the ball, rather than keeping them up, looking for someone to get open. And as soon as you put your head down and are ready to take off, that's when you get in a little bit of trouble there. And bunch of Garden City defenders just swarming all over the place and taking down the quarterback, Rivers, after picking up really only about a yard and a half on the play.
So 2nd down and 8. Pitch into the backfield and nothing going again. Corey Ballard takes the pitch and he loses a couple of yards.
And you could only see one blocker out there for Annapolis and about 4 or 5 blue jerseys waiting on Ballard in the backfield. The Annapolis offensive line was nowhere to be found on that play. And only a 1-yard loss just due to some forward progress, but Garden City was all over that play as we approach the halfway mark of this second quarter.
6 minutes, 36 seconds remaining here in the second quarter on what they made into senior night tonight. Only 2 home games for Garden City this year, and no homecoming since school is out of session, or online only, I guess I should say. Rivers, and he's just eaten alive. So that's either Tennant or Ullman. I don't know which.
It was Tennant. He was late getting on the field, looked like he was running in motion around the defensive line, comes off the right side of the line, and is still able to get the sack without ever having got set.
Wow, what a night for Chaz Tennant. 4th down and 10 now for Annapolis. They'll have to punt it away.
On that last close-up we just saw, you could just see him laughing. Laughing in the helmet there. No, and that was a great play that he just made, and it's just another big hole for Annapolis, and they're facing that 2-touchdown deficit, and they can't.
Clock moving, which is important to Garden City. It may be early, but take as much time off of this clock as you can. Darius Reese back to punt, and Annapolis will call timeout. That's their first timeout of the game.
Well, I got to say that the defense has been the calling card so far through about 2.5 games for Garden City, giving up 7 in the first game against Melvindale, 12 last week to Romulus, and now so far keeping Annapolis off the scoreboard halfway through the second quarter, and they have just been all over this Annapolis offensive line and their skill position players in the backfield. If Garden City is going to keep moving forward this year, the defense is going to be a big reason why.
The Cougars 2-0 early on as Nazarowski goes back on the punt. And I suspect, unless Nazarowski gets a great break, he's just going to let this thing go. Now, the biggest thing is for Garden City not to touch it. They won't. It will take a Garden City bounce, be down at the 41-yard line, so great field position for Garden City. 41 yards away from the end zone on the Annapolis side of the field.
And this is just, everything is going Garden City's way right now. I don't want to jinx them. I'm going to knock on wood as we take a look at the hill out there on senior night.
That's great.
Love to see the Garden City faithful coming out and supporting their team. Only going to get these couple chances
That's right.
This season to come out here.
So 1st and 10 for Garden City. Quick give to Nazarowski, flag on the play. Probably motion on Garden City. They tried to kind of quick pitch that one.
Yeah, usually when they blow it dead before the play even gets going, it's on the
Illegal
offense.
shift. Illegal shift on the offense. 5 yards. Repeat first down.
So Garden City will have a 1st and 15 now.
And so far, I mean, it's been Garden City's self-inflicted mistakes that have been slowing them down. A few penalties here or there, one kind of scary snap that Wausau was able to turn into a decent gain, but other than that, they've been playing very well, and Annapolis has been struggling to stop them.
And a quarterback keeper for Wausau. The give to the fake to Nazarowski. And Wassel battles his way ahead for about 8. Got about 8 yards back on that one. Brings up a 2nd and 7.
And now's the time where you can really take your time and chew up some of this clock and leave Annapolis with next to no time left on the clock by the time you give the ball back. I mean, pick up 3, 4, 5 yards at a crack and eat up this clock. And I believe Garden City is set to get the ball to start second half as well.
That's correct. Still no locker rooms. You still have to stay outside of the locker rooms by the governor's order. And another flag and another penalty against Garden City.
Dead ball. False start. Offense. 5 yards. Repeat second down.
What's the line? Garden City has met the enemy, and it is them.
I would say that fits so far through the first 20 minutes of game action or so.
So this will be a 2nd down and 11 now for the Cougars.
Still manageable for Garden City, the way that they've been running the ball. And, I mean, really the only 2 passes they've had so far were the 2 touchdowns from Wassel to Grant, but definitely could still do it.
And there's Nazarowski. He's going to get the 1st down, and he's going to take it all the way to the house. A 41-yard run for Mike Nazarowski. Touchdown, Garden City. No penalty that time either.
No, there wasn't. There was just little to no resistance at all from the Annapolis defense. They were completely selling out in the box. And as soon as Nazarowski pushed it to the outside, great blocking downfield. Tennant again out there, able to block the defensive back and clear the way for Nazarowski to just cruise into the end zone. No one even close to him. And Garden City now up by 3 scores.
So Garden City will attempt the point after with Dantes Tinsley on the kick. He clears it with plenty of room to spare. And the point after attempt is good. A 21-0 lead for Garden City with 3 minutes, 51 seconds remaining in the half. And it sort of defeated your one theory that they chew up the clock and get it down to halftime. But obviously Nazarowski found the opening and headed for pay dirt.
I mean, trust me, you'll take a 41-yard touchdown run any time, any day of the week. I mean, you can always eat up the clock, especially at the rate that Garden City's moving the ball, but I'm plenty happy with them being able to just break one at the same time. And that's 2 fairly deep touchdown plays for Garden City so far. It was about that 30-yard strike from Wassel to Grant for the first touchdown, and then now this 41-yard run. So some big plays here for the Garden City offense. And they are playing with some major confidence. And first half, 21 points. That's the most points they've scored in a game so far this season. And there's still 3:51 left in the first half.
21-0 Garden City on top. Deep kick this time. Be handled at the 13-yard line. That's Wood, and he's just eaten up. Dominic Wood is just eaten up.
Looks like we have a Garden City Cougar banged up on the play. Looked like it was Bryson Cheloa.
And they'll take a knee as Caitlin, the trainer, will head out. I don't know Caitlin's new last name. She just got married last week.
Oh,
Only missed a week of work. How about that?
That's not bad. Well, congratulations.
Did you see Jim Baker with her, the head coach of the Garden City Cougars? So that looks like that is Bryson Cheloa on the field, but he's going to come off on his own free will, and then she's going to run over to the next player, one of the Annapolis players that is down. He looks a little more banged up.
Yep, good sign for Cheloa, able to get up and walk off. Hopefully the Annapolis player who's down near the Annapolis sideline is all right and Looks like Coach Jim Baker is going to check on him as well. Might be an ankle.
Yeah, he's not moving much. Looks like they're going to get him up too. Well, that's a big loss for Annapolis because Wood has had a pretty good game for them. So it's his left knee or ankle, but he's not putting any weight on that left leg at all.
And they're carrying him off.
Yeah, so that's a big loss for Annapolis. With 3 minutes, 44 seconds remaining here in the first half.
And we'll see if the Garden City defense can continue their dominance so far from this first half. Now sporting a 3-touchdown lead.
Almost a bad snap, and that'll be a false start on Annapolis.
And just back them up. Just back
Dead
them
ball.
up.
Nice job by
False
Rivers.
start. Offense.
Just
5
to
yards.
hang on to that
Repeat
snap.
first down.
Oh, and got to say the Annapolis offensive line looks a little, I'm not sure if it's tired or a little rattled, just based off how Garden City's been handling them so far.
Well, again, Tennant, Omen, Grant, those big guys in the middle, they just keep coming at you.
Yeah, it looks like Garden City has Rafi down smack dab in the middle between Omen and Tennant.
So first down, 15. It's going to air this one out. Defensively there for Garden City is Newsom.
And that pass just...
Actually, Stanley Williams, rather.
Yeah, that pass just wasn't close to being catchable. Just more towards the middle of the field, and receiver was well out towards the numbers.
So second down and 10.
We haven't seen many passes so far from Annapolis. They too have elected to try to keep the ball on the ground, but nothing is really stuck for them as it is.
And, wow, Rivers kind of forced it into Ballard's breadbasket. And Garden City's defense there to chew him up. And Garden City says a fumble on the play, but I think the officials, I don't know. It is a fumble on the play and recovered by Garden City.
We're going to take another look at it here. See where the ball comes out. And he brought down there.
Oh, his knee didn't
still
go down
up.
there.
That is Ballard still running. There goes the ball.
It
definitely.
came right loose, so definitely a fumble. And it took a little while for anybody to react. You see they're still going for the tackle. And the ball was laying there on the field, so a break for Garden City with 3:25 remaining. They get the football back as we watch the replay again.
It was awful close to that left knee being on the ground for Ballard, but he kept moving, and then the ball got knocked loose. So now great field position for Garden City here.
So the handoff to Nazarowski. Nazarowski close to the end zone.
And it looks like, the officials will call it a touchdown.
Nazarowski with a touchdown. So a 16-yard run for Nazarowski. So Nazarowski scores.
And that was just too easy. I mean, again, the guards pulling out to the left side and some bad angles from
Let's watch it
the
again.
defensive backs.
Great blocking.
It was, too.
And he hit the pylon. And that one is blocked, so that conversion is no good, but Garden City still with a 27-0 lead in this one.
Just starting to pour it on here. It was only 6-0 at the end of the first. 3 touchdowns in this second quarter for the Garden City offense. And their second takeaway of the game leads to some points this time around. 2 fumbles from Annapolis. And it is 27-0. Their most convincing outing of this young season. It feels young, being in the 3rd week of game action, but in a normal season, we'd be in week 6.
Yeah, this is a tough year for Garden City not to get a full season in with the talent they have. So Reichart and Brown deep for Annapolis. They trail 27-0. Tinsley will kick it off for Garden City. Oh, and this is going to be Garden City's football. This is not Annapolis's day. This went right off of the front guy.
And I'm not sure that was intentional.
I don't think it was. I think it was just a bad kick. And landing on it was 21, Cameron Wackrow. So 1st and 10 in Garden City with 3:12. They've got time to score again.
They do. I was talking 2 possessions ago about how Garden City could start running on the clock with about 4.5 or 5 minutes left. Since then, they've put up 2 touchdowns, gotten the ball back, and only a minute and a half has come off the clock. I mean, at this rate, we could be seeing a running clock here pretty soon.
Well, they won't start the running clock till the second half. So if Garden City were to get it up to 35, it still won't be a running clock
I don't see
until they come out for the second half.
Right, I don't see them going for 2 if they do score here.
I am surprised to see them pass, as the pass was intended for Dayton Hubs.
Well, the sudden change, try to catch the defense off guard, and
But what's more important right now, that or running time off the clock?
you can do both. Who knows? You can get the ball back again.
We'll see what the penalty was.
Pass interference, defense, 15 yards, results in a 1st down.
Again, a rough night for Annapolis.
It is. I mean, these 2 teams, they've both played Romulus so far. That's the one common opponent. And Annapolis lost that game by 2 points. Garden City won that by 3 points. I mean, we're kind of trying to gauge, like, all right, this might be a bit of an even game just based off a common opponent.
That doesn't tell you 27-0, right?
Right. Both very close games against the same opponent, but Garden City definitely came to play tonight, and Annapolis didn't.
So 1st and 10 for Garden City after the pass interference. The ball at the 35-yard line. Trouble with the snap again. Wassel, though, recovers, gets up over the 30, up over the 20-yard line, and right at the 20-yard line goes out of bounds. So he'll pick up a 1st down.
It looks like there is another flag on the play. I think this is going to be a hold bringing it back.
Holding.
And you're right, Jeremy.
Offense, 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Repeat 1st down.
I want to take this opportunity to thank. We are very short-handed tonight on our telecast of Garden City Cougar football, but I want to thank the folks that were able to show up tonight. Brett George and Malik Mansour and Zachary Witt running cameras tonight, and Christian Gibbons and Rhiannon Flores in the truck. Normally this would be 10 people on this crew, and we're doing it with 5, and I understand we're having some streaming issues. So our thanks to everyone who came out and worked this tonight, and we thank them very much for their efforts. And here's an end around the other way for Wassel. Look at him turn on the Jets. Wassel just turned on the Jets.
In Garden City, they're not doing anything really fancy. I mean, if Annapolis had film on Garden City, this is what they have been running for years now. And they just haven't been able to stand up to it pretty much at all. That was that same just quarterback keep around the right side, pulling both guards. They're both able to get upfield, lay down a block, and the corners for Annapolis have been sitting very close to the box. So as soon as the guards from Garden City are able to get an outside shoulder on one of those corners, they stand no chance, and it leaves the entire side of the field wide open for Garden City to run.
So there's a reverse.
Just as I say, they're not doing anything fancy.
Owen McGraw with the football. It's the first we've seen of him tonight, I believe, and he picks up the first down.
I feel like that happens to me all the time. They're not doing anything fancy at all. Here's a reverse the other way.
So 1st and 10 now at the 19-yard line of Annapolis. Two minutes, 29 seconds. Garden City not running much time off the clock since they've gotten the ball at 3:13 of this quarter.
Most of these plays are getting forced out of bounds.
Nazarowski looking for some help. He gets back up to the original line of scrimmage. Tried to guide his blockers a little bit.
Yep. Good stand there by the Annapolis defense, able to get through the Garden City blockers this time around. Hold Garden City to only about a 1-yard gain.
So we're coming up on the 2-minute mark here in the second quarter on the final game of 2020 for Garden City at home. Again, a bizarre season. Only 2 home games this year out of the 6 that they'll play. Wassel rolling out to his right. That
looked like a backwards pass.
I don't know. Yeah, I think the referee might have missed that one.
No, they are spotting the ball way back there.
Oh, they just called. Okay,
Yeah, that's going to be a huge loss on the play.
Right, so that was thrown behind the quarterback, which makes it a loose ball.
It was. He was lucky there was no Annapolis player over there. And I think even if he was throwing the ball forward, wasn't going to be close to a complete pass. There was finally some penetration from the Annapolis defensive line on the play.
So 3rd down and 24 for Garden City. Wassel airs it out. He's got 2 receivers there. He outthrows them both. Hassan El-Shawi and Owen McGraw, both there on that one.
There we see it. It's just self-inflicted wounds for Garden City has been the only thing to really slow them down tonight. Backwards pass that loses about 15 yards on the play. Some penalties here or there. It looks like they're going to go for it. And I guess you might as well.
Yeah, so 4th down, 24 for Garden City at about the 35. Wassel with pressure. Dumps it across the middle.
Yep, intended screenplay in the middle, and it was
another flag.
Tipped.
I think that was intended for Nazarowski, and the flag is way in the backfield. So that might be, I don't know if there was a little pushing and shoving after the play.
Flag aside, it was a pretty good play call there from Garden City, but tipped.
Yep.
It was intended for Nazarowski. The ball was tipped, though. But he had blockers and a lot of running room if he was able to haul that in.
Unsportsmanlike conduct on the defense. Turnover on downs, it'll be 1st down white.
So it'll still be Annapolis's football, but a big penalty on Annapolis. I think that was Pridemore that got a hand on that broke that play up.
So that should, bump the ball back
The chain
15
gang,
yards
the chain
from
gang
the.
ran up to where they thought.
Yeah,
the line of
I was
scrimmage
wondering
and
that
now
too.
They've got to go back.
It's like they can't get the ball up there. I was like,
Correction.
so
Personal
15
foul
yards
on the
from
defense.
where Garden City had the ball and turned it over there, and that's going to put Annapolis near the 30-yard line.
Now check that at the 19-yard line.
19-yard line. I obviously can't tell my 2s from 3s.
That's okay. It's that public school education.
Must be.
So 1st and 10 now for Annapolis with 1:34 remaining in the quarter. And Dominic Wood, I think, is at quarterback. The player that had hurt his ankle, and he throws an interception to Robert Grant. I believe
it was Wood.
that was Wood under quarterback. So That might have been a situation where they figured he couldn't run very well, but he can get back there and throw the football. And it wasn't a bad pass.
Well,
I mean, he had 2 white jerseys there, but it ended up in Robert Grant's hands.
Yeah, sometimes in the high school, and I guess even in the college game, you have a deep ball quarterback trying to air it out a bit, and I think that might be why Wood was back there. He probably has a bit of a better arm compared to Rivers, but it didn't work. His one pass throw goes for an interception.
Well, my early days of high school, we called that a punt.
Well, I don't think they're doing that on first down.
No, but some of our best punts were those passes on third down. There's a handoff to Nazarowski, and he will just get back up to the line of scrimmage, and I believe we might get an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty against Annapolis as the clock stops at 1:19 and the longest 3 minutes in the history of football continue here at Garden City High School.
The clock just does not want to run in this game. We'll see. That is...
It might be a horse collar.
It's got to be a horse collar. No one got any face mask, it looked like.
He kind of grabbed around the pads.
The back of the helmet area.
Yeah. See what the referee says.
Dead ball, unsportsmanlike conduct on the blue bench. Run it.
All right, we'll try
15 yards from the recovery.
All right, so they're saying it was a fumble. They're saying unsportsmanlike conduct on the Garden City bench. That was just an ugly sequence there. I'm not sure.
Yeah, the ball's definitely loose, it looked like. Yep.
Yeah, the ball's
absolutely
loose.
Good recovery there. But yeah, I mean, we thought the penalty was going against the tackle.
Right.
But we didn't see the ball that loose and taken away by the defensive line from
And we don't know what came
Annapolis.
off of the Garden City bench or what was said on the Garden City bench. So 1st and 10 now for Annapolis at the Garden City 40-yard line with 1:19 remaining. We'll see if Garden City's defense again can come up big against Annapolis.
Yep, Wood back in there at quarterback for Annapolis. See if they look to air it out again here.
Tennant looks like he's about to cause some trouble. That one's passed into the middle. And
oh, that looked clean. It looked like good timing.
Tinsley reached over the receiver's shoulder to knock the ball down.
Yeah, that was good timing by Tinsley.
Yeah, that was intended for Brown. And Robert Grant over with the trainer. He may just be killing some time till halftime, but
huge first half for Robert Grant. 2 touchdowns and an interception so far.
so 2nd down and 10. Quarterback just might have been hit as he was throwing the pass.
And it looked like it was Cameron Domke on the initial hit there as Wood was dropping back to pass. And Wood looks shaken up again.
Yeah, let's watch this.
No, it was Tennant. Tennant on the hit. He is just
continues to have a monster
living
day.
In the backfield of Annapolis.
So 3rd down and 10 for Annapolis. Still 1:10 remaining in this half.
We've managed to take 9 seconds off the clock in those last 2 plays.
I believe the average play length has been 4 seconds in this game, or at least since the 3-minute mark. So back to the original quarterback. He's got a deep throw there and intercepted.
Grant
Robert
again.
Grant there again. He intercepted Wood, and now he intercepts Rivers.
So add 2 interceptions to his 2 touchdowns tonight in the first half.
Robert Grant is just having a monster season for Garden City and a monster night right now.
He absolutely is. And we saw glimpses of that last season during his sophomore campaign, and it's all coming to fruition now this year as...
And only 5 seconds ran off the clock for that.
So that means we're definitely getting a pass on first down here.
For real, if you're Jim Baker, are you just going to take a knee?
Maybe...
That deep in your own territory? Up by 27? Wassel under center. He'll pitch it to Nazarowski. He'll just gain a couple. That play makes me nervous, to be honest with you.
Anytime they toss it in the air like that.
So Pridemore with the tackle. Yeah, no, that makes me a little nervous. That deep in your own territory.
And it was kind of slow developing as well with the toss. I was, like you said, a little worried an Annapolis defender was going to be kind of right there waiting for that pitch.
So Wassel comes back to the huddle from the bench.
I think the Garden City coaching staff might want this half to end.
Yeah.
Just as much as anyone.
We're under 25 seconds now.
Just to kind of regroup at halftime outside the locker room, not in the locker room.
I think he will take a snap. Give to Nazarowski. Nazarowski just pads his stats. Gets about 3, and that'll be the end of the first half, but a very, very impressive first half of football for Garden City. 2 touchdown receptions for Robert Grant, 2 touchdown runs for Mike Nazarowski. An incredible day for Wassel also. An incredible day for Chaz Tennant, and Garden City takes a 27-0 lead into halftime. We'd say into the locker room, but they're just headed to the parking lot in some folding chairs. So I'll tell you what, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back from the break, we'll have an interview that I did with Derek Fisher, the superintendent of the Garden City Public Schools, taking a look at the impact of the $50 million bond issue and what impact that will have on the athletic department. Then we'll be back with more football from Garden City High School. Again, 27-0 at halftime. You're watching Omni Edition Sports. This is GCTV.
Sure, I look cute now, but when my owner lost his job, it was rough. I was living on the street, and one night, me and this Cocker Spaniel got into it so bad, I wound up looking like an ice cream cone. I cried a little bit, but thankfully I got rescued, so I'm running, I'm jumping, all back to my old self, and I'm ready to give unconditional love, even if you put a lampshade on my head.
If I could go back and change it all, I would. I think I'm gonna miss you the most. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Or maybe it's just the little moments. If I could go back and change it all. If I could go back, I would. But I can't.
Sometimes we can do things that exclude others.
You're still talking to your friend? It's complicated.
I think he went back in. We gotta go get him.
Welcome to Jumanji.
Even the smallest words and actions can have a big effect on someone. You have the skills. Because of you, someone's entire day, their year, or their life can change.
Remember, the future is in your hands.
Visit becauseofyou.org to learn more.
Totally, let's do it.
This is an interesting thing because we were basically regulated out of the pool business. Now, obviously, we had some hardware problems and some infrastructure problems there too. But eventually, they changed the rules for diving, said you had to be X amount of feet above the water, but also you have to be so far from the ceiling. And it is a very low ceiling. Yeah. And then eventually our kids were not even allowed to jump off the sides of the pool because the pool was determined to be too shallow.
Correct. By MHSAA guidelines, it was too shallow for out-of-pool entry.
So that will be fixed?
The competition pool will be brought up to full MHSAA specs.
So they'll be able to use not diving boards, but jumping boards or whatever they're called, starting blocks.
Starting blocks.
Thank you. And literally that means taking the roof off. That's part of it, right?
Redoing the roof deck of that pool facility. That was, that goes back to 61, and it's a rebar and construction roof, or rebar and cement roof. So they really don't use that type of build anymore, and that's over the years that's deteriorated and challenged. So they will remove that.
They built a road over the pool,
exactly.
Essentially.
It's like a highway overpass going over the pool. So that'll be removed, and they will put a whole new roof structure on there, and the whole pool deck will be redone, and then that competition pool will be dug out and redone and retiled, and we'll have a really nice facility for competition.
And there were conversations about possibly taking the pool at the middle school and doing this there instead because it has a slightly higher roof. It is a slightly bigger room.
Correct.
But ultimately the decision was made to repair the one at the high school.
Yeah, and ultimately that came down to when we started looking at repurposing cost for the pool or a demolition of that pool. You're getting into 60, 70, 80% cost of the restoration of the pool facility itself.
Okay.
So we were in for a penny, in for a pound at that point. And the feedback that we had from our stakeholder groups, they felt it was important that the high school itself, the physical high school, had that pool facility to support our student athletes and a swim program.
Right, we've had a pretty good swim program for the past 5 or 8 years.
Yes.
And they're nomads. They swim at Crestwood. They've swum at Wayne. Mostly at Crestwood now. So they'll still have to be nomads for about a year.
Yes.
But ultimately, they will have a home pool to swim at.
And a very nice one at that.
And then finally, high school football field.
Yes.
Field turf is one of those more noticeable things that gets everybody's attention. Obviously, it's a better playing surface than maybe not grass, but grass that isn't taken care of to the degree that it needs to be. And we simply don't have the ability to maintain that football field at a high level with grass.
Well, and that's the thing too. I mean, if you're looking at using the property quite a bit, and if it's wet, it's going to present challenges. We know we have a marching band that wants to get out there. We know that we play girls and boys soccer out there. We know that we partner with Garden City Youth Athletics to use that field. So it does get a lot of usage, but we also know there's a lot of wear and tear, and we know
plus your own 2 football teams.
Our own 2 football teams, exactly. And then the weather and the upkeep and the watering. So having a grass field, you invest in that at least as much as you would a turf field.
Yeah.
And the wear and tear and the ability to get out there and use it isn't always there with a grass field.
And it's the upfront cost that creates the sticker shock of laying out, I don't know, $700,000 or $800,000 for turf field.
Yeah, when you factor in some of the pieces now, some of that has already been taken care of because we've already renovated and replaced the high school track. So we were able to put some infrastructure in there that would eventually wind up helping to support a turf field.
And again, I won't force you to comment on this, but a big cost that's associated with this is the fact that we basically have to create an underground retention system for water. Is that correct?
Yeah, there is a piece built in there for retention. And anytime you put a hard surface down, as we saw with our high school parking lot, you got to be very mindful of stormwater runoff. And there's a formula that the county uses that's based on square footage of roof, square footage of parking lot, square footage of available hard surfaces.
And again, I won't put you in this position, but in my opinion, when you take a piece of property that has as much grass and as much
exposed ground as you have there, more than anywhere in the city but in the park. I think it's absurd to have to waste taxpayers' dollars on these water retention systems when the Rouge is right down the street. So that's just
You'd be a good Wayne County commissioner. I'd like to get you on the Wayne County Commission.
Glenn Anderson and I have talked about this a lot. I think it's an absolute absurd waste of money, but you know, that's what government does sometimes. Well, I want to thank you very much for spending time to talk with us. I want to wish you best of luck, man. You have got the hardest job in town right now.
Thank you.
And I wish you the best of luck getting schools open, getting kids settled. I hope we're able to get the buildings open sooner than later, and I wish you the best of luck on all of these renovations, because I think the residents, even those that don't have kids in school, will be very happy to see these projects done and to see the curb appeal of the Garden City schools improve dramatically.
Emotes say a lot, but they can't say it all. Think your guildmate is struggling? Try these dialogue options. Go beyond emotes. Check in with your guildmates at seizetheawkward.org.
The census, a special time when we count every person in each home in every neighborhood.
Do kids count?
Of course. Counting everyone in your home helps support your neighborhood by funding things like schools, hospitals, and buses. Complete the census by calling or going online, or return your form by mail.
It's easy, secure, and most important, it's totally private.
Make your family count!
This year, make sure every child counts. Visit 2020census.gov.
Spending time outdoors has never felt more valuable. Whether it's exploring nature or relaxing in your yard, let's do it responsibly. Before going out, check for closures and fire restrictions. Practice social distancing, even when outside and on the trail. Back at home, if burning yard debris, keep your pile small. And no matter where you are, be sure to properly extinguish any outdoor fire. Drown, stir, drown, feel. We're all in this together. Help keep our safe places safe.
I know what you're thinking. I need a job. I need a new career.
Well, I've been there.
I've been there.
I've been there. I wasn't happy with what I was doing.
After high school, I didn't have a plan.
I just wanted to start working. I got laid off twice, but you gotta keep going.
You just need the right skills. Find an apprenticeship.
I found a 2-year IT program.
I found a medical course online.
I'm now a consultant in the tech space.
You have more options than you think. You can do this.
You will find something.
You will find something new.
Sure, I look cute now, but when my owner lost his job, it was rough. I was living on the street, and one night, me and this Cocker Spaniel got into it so bad, I wound up looking like an ice cream cone. I cried a little bit, but thankfully I got rescued, so I'm running, I'm jumping, all back to my old self. And I'm ready to give unconditional love, even if you put a lampshade on my head.
If I could go back and change it all, I would. I think I'm gonna miss you the most. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Maybe it's just the little moments. If I could go back and change it all, if I could go back, I would. But I can't.
Sometimes we can do things that exclude others.
You're still talking to your friend. It's complicated.
I think he went back in. We gotta go get him.
Welcome to Jumanji.
Even the smallest words and actions can have a big effect on someone. You have the skills. Because of you, someone's entire day, their year, or their life can change.
Remember, the future is in your hands.
Visit becauseofyou.org to learn more.
Totally, let's do it.
Nothing lead over Annapolis. A very tough first half for Annapolis, but Jeremy, a great first half by Garden City.
It was. Pretty much everything was working for Garden City in that first half. The only real resistance that they felt was from self-imposed errors, a fumble, some penalties. Other than that, they have just been manhandling the offensive and defensive line from Garden City, or from Annapolis, I should say. And it's led to this 27-0 lead going into the second half. Already the most points that Garden City has put up this season. Only 2 quarters into the game, looking to make it 3-0 on the year.
Nazarowski with 110 yards rushing for Garden City already in the first half. The Cougars with 150 yards total rushing. Garden City 3 for 7 passing. Robert Grant with 37 yards in receiving. Garden City with 186 yards total offense to only 54 for Annapolis. So again, a tough night for the Annapolis Cougars.
Yeah, it's tough to pick who would be the player of the game so far between Robert Grant and I'd say Chaz Tennant as well. He's done a fantastic...
Chaz Tennant has had a great night.
He has done a great job being a lead blocker for Nathan Wassel and Mike Nazarowski, and he's been a force on the defensive side of the ball as well. Robert Grant with 2 touchdown receptions and 2 interceptions so far in this game. So plenty of great storylines for Garden City in this game. A 4-touchdown lead, and they're going to get the ball to start this second half.
We mentioned before 35-0 results in a running clock, so we could end up in a running clock situation sooner than later. Garden City will receive the opening kickoff, so to add insult to injury for Annapolis, Garden City will get the football to begin the second half. But if you're Jim Baker and his coaching staff, you've got to be very happy with everything other than the penalties and a couple of mistakes that they've made.
Right, and that's some things to talk about and work on throughout next week in practice. Moving forward, you always want to have something that you can teach the boys throughout the week and point to some things that you messed up in the previous game and how you can improve moving forward towards your next opponent. And there are some things to clean up for Garden City. You don't want them getting too confident or too cocky after just the first half. And I'm sure they went over this in halftime as well. We have to clean some things up. And we'll see if they do that as we are set to kick off the second half here, Garden City to receive.
And they go for the short onside style, but Garden City recovers it. And Garden City will get the football almost at midfield.
Yep. Good hands there by Ashton Ferguson. Able to corral that one in near midfield. And it's always scary when you're in that front line and you're not used to touching the ball and, uh-oh, the ball's coming right at me. So good job by that young man, able to hold on to the ball and give Garden City the ball right at midfield on the orange of the Cougar Paw logo.
So Wassel's still back there. New running back this time, though. That is Connor Harris. And Connor Harris, check that, it is not Connor Harris. But he's into the end zone for a touchdown. That was Bryson Chelawa with the carry. I hate those numbers on these jerseys.
And a pancake block by Tennant right here. Watch this. Top side and lays him out right there. And Chelawa keeps going, and it looks like they're going to get a face mask on Chelawa.
So that'll negate the
Face
touchdown.
mask, offense, 5 yards from the spot of the foul, first down.
So it's still a huge gain for Garden City, but you want the touchdown there, but there's the grab.
Yeah, and if you're Chelawa, well, that's one of those things you've got to teach. There was no win there. He was behind him. The defensive player was behind him.
First and 10, Garden City.
So that'll give Garden City a first and 10 at the 15.
Ball spotted at the Annapolis 15-yard line.
So more of the same, just early in this second half for Garden City.
And there's a quick give and a tackle in the backfield. Owen McGraw on the carry, but a very nice job there by Ronald Payne with a tackle for a loss.
He got right through the offensive line from Garden City, and that's always a risk that you run when pulling one of your offensive linemen. It leaves a hole in that offensive line, and if the play is too slow to develop, a linebacker or defensive lineman will be able to get through, and that's what we saw on that play with Payne making the tackle.
So second down and about 19 for Garden City. Chellowa lines up again in the backfield. To give to Chellowa. He uses his blocking. Nice move there. And Chellowa gets back almost to the original line of scrimmage.
Carry for Garden City. Robert Brown the third there defensively for Annapolis.
And now we will see if Garden City is able to run the clock in this second half. They seem to be having a little bit of difficulty in the last 4 or 5 minutes or so being able to do that.
Well, and you're going with a different set now, too. That's got a little bit to do with it. And you obviously want to get more kids into the game at this point.
Yep, Chellowa in the backfield again.
Grant on the other side. Dantes Tinsley on this side. Tinsley in motion. And the give is to Chellowa. Chellowa using a Tennant for part of the way.
It looks like he just lost his footing trying to go around Tennant there because there was plenty of room to run. And it looks like the feet might have gotten tangled on that play.
That's a long way to go to get around Tennant.
It is.
So fourth down and about 5 for Garden City, maybe 6.
Yeah, the athleticism from Chaz Tennant has been on full display tonight. I mean, he is consistently blocking downfield, 5, 10, 20 yards downfield, laying blocks for his running backs. And that has been a big difference in this game. And there he goes again.
And into the end zone, a touchdown for Wassel. So Wassel joins the party and gets himself onto the scoreboard.
So now would Garden City consider going for 2 here just to get to a running clock? And it looks like they are sending Tinsley out for the kick, and just another easy touchdown run. Wassel following Tennant and only got hit right at the 1 or 2 yard line, able to spin into the end zone. Good for another Cougar touchdown. And the lead is now 33-0, and it looks like they might be going for it.
9 minutes, 24 seconds remaining in the third quarter. As you said, Garden City going for the 2-point conversion. Grant and McGraw on the near side, and a bullet thrown into the middle. And a check that, a 2-point conversion attempt is good as Hassan Hashawi with a 2-point conversion attempt. So now we are at 35-0. And the running clock rules will take effect. And I believe they use TIPS as the acronym of timeouts, injuries, penalties, and scores are the only time you stop the clock.
So no longer will first downs or going out of bounds do it. Looks like, or even incomplete passes. That'll be a big one as Annapolis will try to get back into this game, presumably through the air.
And I believe you just have to get under 35 to go back to a stop clock.
Yep. So it's a 35-point lead. Doesn't necessarily have to be 35-0. It can be 42-7 or any variation
in
of being up 35.
basketball, when you get it to, it's a little more than 35, but you have to get it way lower than that. As you see the pooch kick there, that's a loose ball, and Annapolis picks it up And stepping out of bounds almost immediately is Brown. And a flag after the play as the play starts to get chippy.
And we've seen a few unsportsmanlike conduct penalties in this game. One from each team at least.
Dead ball, unsportsmanlike conduct on the receiving team. 15 yards from the end of the run, first down.
So this will get pushed back to about the 15-yard line. The clock is stopped because of the penalty.
I didn't know that acronym. You're helping me out here with the TOPS thing.
Well, you normally TIPS.
TIPS, that's it.
Honestly, we normally use spit because we can remember that better, but I didn't want to say that on television.
No, absolutely.
We're not on TV right now, right? So, so 35-0, Garden City on top. Ball gets taken back to, well, they moved it back to about the 17.
Yep, so now once the ball is snapped, we will presumably have the ball continue to run, or the clock continue to run.
So Garden City bringing a lot of folks up front. Rivers at quarterback with 2 in the backfield. Give to the second man. He's met by McGraw. That's Ballard on the carry.
Yep, so now we're getting the substitutes in for Garden City. A good time to do it now with the running clock and a hefty lead for the Cougars. Get some players in there that normally wouldn't get into the game in some of these tight games that they've been playing thus far. And always important to build your depth moving forward.
Well, you've got Nate Combs up front there, the son of one of the JV coaches, or the head JV coach. He's a senior getting some playing time here today. We'll see who else has made their way onto that defensive line for Garden City with a big lead. Oh, and right through the line of scrimmage for Garden City is number 1, Hassan El-Shawi.
Immediately met the running back in the backfield, brought him down for a loss on the play. Going to bring up a 3rd down now for Annapolis. And the clock will continue to run.
Marshawn Brown is out there for Garden City on the defensive line, along with Ashton English, who's a junior. Brown also a junior, so you want to make sure these guys get some playing time.
That's right. I mean, for every high school football team, once the season ends, the next season starts. So a month or so from now, 2 months, these guys it's going to be their team, so it's important to get them some playing time as juniors.
Fumble on the snap. Rivers flushed out, tries to get it off to Brown.
Rivers pass is headed for number 5.
Just like a low pass. I mean, it was a good job by Rivers able to get the ball in the first place after bobbling the snap and even be in contention to make a play.
So 4th down and 4 now for Annapolis, and as we said on an incomplete pass, the clock does not stop.
Annapolis figuring, what do we have to lose by going for it here? Deep in their own territory. Some manageable yardage on this 4th down. Only need about 4 to get to that 1st down marker.
Rivers from the shotgun. He's back on the run. And he'll be tackled short of the 1st down. So Annapolis will turn it over on downs. Rivers just couldn't find anywhere to throw it.
Yeah, it was a good job by Ashton Ferguson staying with the play. He was the first man to make contact on Rivers in the backfield. Stuck with him as Rivers was trying to slip free and slowed him down enough for help to arrive from the Garden City defense. And going to bring him down well short of that 1st down marker. And Garden City right here deep in Annapolis territory as we are past the halfway mark of that 3rd quarter. Looks like some offensive substitutions will be in effect now as well. Looks like they're shifting Nazarowski to quarterback.
Which I believe
might just be a Wildcat look, but they have him back there.
And with Wassel as a sophomore, you know, he's going to be playing for a long time. And Nazarowski does call his own number.
Right, and that's an indication as well that Garden City's done passing for the day as well. I mean, Wassel is your passer out there, and if they are going to stick with Nazarowski as the quarterback, then with this 35-0 lead and a running clock, there's no reason to pass at the same time. It'll just be runs from here on out.
Ball at the 26-yard line of Annapolis.
So 2nd down and 10 for Garden City. Nazarowski again, lined up at quarterback, taking his time. Handoff. This is going to go for a few. This is Chelowa, and Chelowa all the way into the end zone with a 27-yard carry.
And different guards in there for Garden City, but same result. You have Jake Carroll out there, number 34, and you have Cameron Domke out there blocking as well. And only one man to really block out there, and that was Robert Brown. And Chelowa able to cruise into the end zone, and Garden City just pouring it on now in this second half.
So 41-0 is the lead now for the Cougars as Tinsley will set up for the extra point. And it's good. So 42-0 Garden City on top.
4:08 remaining in the third. Your Garden City Cougars.
4:08 remaining in the quarter.
And this is one of the most convincing games we've seen from these guys in a long time. And as I was telling you before the game, Dan, if Garden City's able to win this game, this will be their 4th 3-game winning streak in the last 3 seasons. So starting to get some consistency from this Garden City program. Jim Baker been the head coach for a few years now. The system is in place. These kids are comfortable running this system on offense. And it's really starting to pay some dividends now. Going to make their 2nd playoff appearance in 3 years and looking for 3 straight winning seasons for the first time in school history.
Right. The Cougars just missed the playoffs last year with a 5-4 mark. They won 6 games in 2018 and made it to the playoffs. So after a tough year in 2017, Jim Baker has got things in the right direction for this Garden City Cougar football team.
There is a lot to like from what we've seen here tonight.
Be another short kick, and headed right out of bounds is 18, Mike Bodette. Hey, want to take this opportunity. We were mentioning all of the crew. We want to thank Emily Cruz, which is the fiancée of Christian Gibbons, who also came out. It was all hands on deck tonight because we are missing a lot of people on our crew, and we've struggled with our live feed tonight, and I believe those of you watching this for the most part will be watching it on the delay because I think our live feeds didn't do so well tonight. But we want to thank her, and we also want to wish her and Christian the best. They are getting married at the end of October, and we want to wish them nothing but the best, and we hope to all be there to ruin their wedding. 1st and 10.
1st and 10 for the Annapolis Cougars, ball at their own 38.
Dead silence from the truck, by the way. Nothing.
He's too focused, too laser focused in there.
Fumble on the play. Annapolis did recover. Rivers on the carry. He fumbled. Recovered by Payne. And by the way, as we mentioned that we are a little short on crew tonight as you watch this, this will be the 6th Garden City High School game that we have televised in the past 2 weeks. We have put together just so many people over the last, as you see the fumble and the recovery right there by Annapolis. We've put together so many people to try to bring all of these games to you again, as I've mentioned, and I've mentioned it over and over and over again, only a couple of us get paid. And the rest of this is done all with volunteers and interns and folks that come out here and dedicate just hundreds of hours to make these broadcasts possible, these telecasts possible, as you see the handoff. And I can't thank everybody enough. We've got a couple of more games we're going to be doing, a soccer game and a volleyball game, but I'm out for a little while because I'm going to go have some surgery. So I want to thank everybody for just the incredible dedication of this group and the incredible effort and just grinding it out and dragging out all of this equipment and doing ESPN quality stuff for the most part. Bringing you Garden City football, Garden City volleyball, Garden City soccer to you in this fall of 2020 in this strange COVID era where you can't come and watch the games, so we're doing everything we can to bring the games to you.
It is, and major props to you and your production team here, Dan. I mean, you guys have always done great work. I'm lucky to be a part of it, as there's another big loss from Annapolis and a great defensive stop by the Cougar defense. They're forcing a fourth down. You see the replay there. But, yeah, I'm lucky to be a part of this broadcast
We're happy
crew.
to have you.
And have a lot of fun coming out here, able to call these games. As bunch of Cougars piling on, and that's just a microcosm of the evening right there, that play.
We got a minute left in the third quarter. I believe the fourth quarter, I suspect, will go by rather rapidly, so I wanted to get all that in about all of the volunteers and all of the crew and Gibby getting married and everything else that's going on.
Yeah, and congratulations to Christian and Emily as well.
Oh, congratulations to Christian. I don't know so much about Emily. But
yeah, maybe not. But
yeah,
I've known him for a few years now, and he's a great guy, and I know you guys all pull each other's legs, but...
Well, and there's a fourth down conversion that doesn't happen, and Garden City will get the football back.
Rivers on the carry. Dayton Hughes made the stop.
Yep, that is going to give Garden City the ball back. Or no, they're going to keep it with Annapolis. And Annapolis...
No, it's the end of the quarter.
End of the quarter, all right.
Yeah, that's why.
I thought our changing was all out of sorts again. We've seen it a couple times tonight. I'm like, which way are they going?
Hey, we want to thank our folks across the street that continue just to be so great to us. Lori, Matt, and everybody at Sports Venue across the street from Garden City High School. Pizza, all kinds of great food, wings. They are the probably the biggest business supporter in town of all of the individual charities. They have been great to us as far as providing food for the volunteers and the interns here at Omnidition Television and GCTV. I'm sure those folks will be headed there afterwards to try to warm up. So we thank Lori. We thank everybody at Sports Venue for being a great supporter of the city of Garden City and GCTV. As you see, the Cougars leading 42-0. And Matt Combs is going to wander through here, and I'm going to ask him on the air, did these guys come up from JV? Is this the 5-quarter thing? Or okay, very good. Is it 5 quarters? Is that what the rule is? All right. So we've got some substitutions coming in for Garden City in the fourth quarter because of a newer rule. We talked about this at the last game. A football player can play 5 quarters of football, which means if they only played 3 quarters at JV, they can come up and play 2 quarters on the varsity. And because of that, Garden City has some guys that are coming up from the JV here for this one. But they did keep the ball with Annapolis. I'm not sure. They were definitely short of the first down, so I don't know what happened there. I'll be perfectly honest with you.
And it's going to be Garden City ball either way.
Regardless, it's Garden City's football now.
And I'd have to just suspect, Dan, going back to the 5-quarter rule, that this is the perfect scenario for Garden City right now because we take a look at the fumble there.
And that, by the way, is freshman Benjamin Ziemba, who we just got his name brought to us by Coach Combs from the JV, so he gets the fumble recovery.
So that means that these kids that are out there now, the JV players, they were likely playing the entire game yesterday, 4 quarters in the JV game, and now they can play in this fourth quarter as their 5th quarter of the week.
So Caden Williams will be at quarterback now for Garden City. He is a sophomore.
Yeah, so this is a perfect scenario for Garden City, having the luxury of a 42-point lead. You can get these guys into varsity action.
And to give to Chellowa, and Chellowa battles ahead for about 4 yards. Chellowa, one of several brothers that have played here at Garden City High School. At least 3 that I can come up with.
Right, I was going to say, I feel like I come around a few times a year and I look at the roster and I go, oh, there's another Chellowa, there's another McGraw.
Yeah. So second down for Garden City. Second down and about 7.
Yeah, it was Ethan last year, I believe, who was the main running back.
Chellowa, right.
Chellowa last year.
And then the oldest Chellowa, whose name escapes me right now. And he was probably the most talented of the 3. There's a give to Chellowa.
Another flag on the play.
Met in the backfield by Pridemore.
Looks like this is going to go against Garden City.
10 minutes, 9 seconds remaining in this football game.
Legal formation on the offense. 5 yards. Repeat second down.
Yeah, as you mentioned, the expansion of 1,000 people that you could put together outside for events. Garden City's ice arena opening back up, or is opened back up, and they'll begin to allow open skating and some other events there. But there are hockey leagues going on, and the figure skating club doing its thing. So again, things starting to open up bit by bit. We are unfortunately had to cancel the Santaland parade because we just didn't know what was going to be happening, and also the fundraising that goes along with it. We just weren't comfortable asking for money from businesses under the circumstances.
Right, and that's all understandable. I mean, it's truly difficult to gauge just where everything's going to be at. I mean, there's always the wishful thinking. Everybody wants to be able to do these events, wants to participate in the sporting events as well, but it's really just a wait and see. And
well, I'm a little nervous about basketball, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
When things go back in on a regular basis, I'm a little nervous about that.
Right, basketball indoors, they're yet to make a decision on that one from what I've seen.
Well, you have basketball, you have wrestling. I mean, these are definitely contact sports indoors. You have swimming, which has been allowed to occur. That would be, I believe this is girls now, that's boys, I think. They switched that around, so I'm not even 100% sure who is when anymore. Fake to Chellowa. And Ziemba will be tackled for a loss.
It might be rough going for the youngsters out there for the Cougars, but this is invaluable experience for them.
Yeah.
Being able to go against varsity-level competition, whether you're a freshman or a sophomore out there, getting to go against juniors and seniors. And it's a perfect environment to be able to do so. It's a luxury for Garden City to have that lead and be able to get those guys in there after playing a full game yesterday and now getting a quarter of action in up on the varsity field.
So Garden City will go for it on 4th down. Chellowa with the football, and Chellowa lost his footing. He might have had a shot at that first down.
There were some blockers downfield, but just the turf monster came up and grabbed his foot. That might be coming to Garden City next year with the turf field getting put in.
That's right. Field turf coming in for the 2021 season, along with other improvements. If you happen to catch that interview at halftime with Derek Fisher, the superintendent here at Garden City High School. So 1st and 10 for Annapolis at the 38-yard line.
I was always a much bigger fan of the turf field back when I was playing than playing on grass fields.
Well, obviously it's better footing, but you have to go through the evolution of, from AstroTurf, if you will, to field turf. A significant difference. And even the field turf that they produce now compared to field turf 20 years ago when it first came out is there's a fumble on the snap.
Right, and Another a nice feature, I should say, of it is it holds some warmth in as well when you're out there and you start getting into October and it's frost warnings at night. It holds some heat in there.
The black rubber pellets,
right?
And especially also for like college baseball out at Eastern Michigan, where I worked, they have a field turf infield for baseball, and as long as the sun is out, it's comfortable. And since they have to play in the middle of March at home because of the amount of games they have to play in a season, that's a big help.
Right now on the flip side, it retaining heat 2 days during the summertime,
in the summertime
that
too.
is a different story, and you can get temperatures into the hundreds there. Just retaining that heat. And there's a bad snap.
And the quarterback will just go down.
Just nothing went right for Annapolis tonight, and it was a close first quarter, just 6-0 at the end of the first, but it has been all Garden City since, and they have just been pounding Annapolis. As we take a look at that high snap, and
I think they're rotating back and forth between Rivers and Woods. We'll see who comes back out to play quarterback for this one.
Yep, 3rd and 28 now.
Oh, that is Rivers. Okay. I thought he headed to the bench, to be honest with you. Yeah, 3rd down at a country mile for Annapolis. Have they punted tonight?
I don't believe so.
There's a nice pass. Intercepted by Garden City. Well, there's a punt.
I was just going to say maybe that. Now they're wrestling to see who has possession, but that looked like an interception.
That's pretty much sure that's Garden City's football. And the intercepted there by Owen McGraw. So 1st and 10 for Garden City at the Annapolis 48. Clock continues to run as the officials are conferring, but I'm pretty sure they have stopped the clock now because of the referees getting together, but I believe that should be Garden City's football.
I think they're pointing it the other direction. I think they're going to say Annapolis got it.
Well, Annapolis is changing personnel on the field. So I don't know what's going on.
Wow,
the stick says 4th down. The chains aren't spread, but that's a whole other thing. So they're saying it's 4th down and 4 instead.
So that was a 3rd and 28 play, and they're saying he picked up about 23 of it. And now they're going to discuss it again.
So with 4:08 remaining in this one. All right, let's watch this. So he airs it out. And right there, it's clearly intercepted by McGraw. So I don't believe the
baffling
Annapolis player pulled it loose from McGraw.
And now they're going to say it's a first? Where are they spotting this ball? It's not at the 50.
Well, they're spotting it at the 50.
Look at where he comes down. It's at the 46-yard line.
The ball was at the 46-yard line, so the officials struggling with this one. The ball came down at the 46. So this one will go back to Annapolis in a 42-0 game, but maybe a tough couple of plays for the officials too. As you see, Ronald Payne with the carry. So gain of about 5 on that one, 2nd and 5.
Looked like Marshawn Brown in there for Garden City.
Yeah, so a ball that was caught at the 46 gets spotted at the 50. And as you said, it was a...
2nd down and 5.
Even if you say it's a catch by Annapolis, they were still 4 yards short of the first down. But, again, regardless, a 42-0 game.
I'm trying to process it. I'm thinking it might have... They might have ruled it an actual interception, and then once he caught it, he ripped the ball away as if it were a fumble. But I just don't understand the
Well, they still didn't
spot.
get to didn't get beyond the 46. So Payne gets it up to about the 37 with the clock running. 2:50 remaining in this one. And Annapolis trying to get on the board. Go home with a better taste in their mouth. Rivers on the pitch. He makes the cut, and dragged out short of the touchdown is Ballard.
Looks like McGraw saved the touchdown on that play.
That's Corey Ballard wrapped up by Owen McGraw. First and 10.
Ballard turned on the Jets on that left side there. One of the most positive yardage plays that Annapolis has had this entire game. And you can see McGraw take a pretty good angle, able to get him out, and he steps out around the 12.
And that's where they'll mark the football. So first and 10 at the 12-yard line. Give up the middle. Still battling with the football is Payne. Garden City trying to pitch a shutout here as Payne gains about 5. So 2nd and 5 inside the 10 at the 9.
And you can tell Annapolis really doesn't want to get shut out because they are now moving with a major sense of urgency in terms of shuffling personnel in and out of the game.
Rivers at quarterback. Quick pitch to Ballard. And Ballard doesn't get very far. McGraw in there on the tackle for Garden City.
Nathan Wassel in on the defense for Garden City.
Under a minute to go now, and we'll see if Garden City can preserve that shutout. That's the big task now, and another good simulated, essentially, situation for the youngsters in there right now, trying to make a goal line stand at the end of the game.
Pass into the end zone, touchdown, and he dropped it. Great defense by McGraw. I thought Annapolis had a touchdown right there. And the receiver might have got the wind knocked out of him.
It was in the hands of the receiver. Basket catch, and he just couldn't haul it in.
Yep.
Folks, just a reminder, per the governor's executive order, there is no post-game gathering. We ask that at the end of this game.
So Brown will get up
Exit the facility
and head off the field. So 4th down now for Annapolis. Brown did everything but complete the process, as they say.
Did look like he landed awkwardly on that knee. It bent an awkward direction. So understandably shaken up on the play.
So 4th down. There you see Nate York, who showed up to try to help bail us out at halftime to add another body to the group.
Weather definitely taking that turn now. He's nice and bundled up down there.
So 24 seconds. There you see Brett George, who's been with us for decades, handling camera 1. We thank him for coming all the way from South Lyon for a bunch of these games. And there you see Malik Mansour in his Elmer Fudd hat on the top of the press box. As the fans kick up and make some noise.
So this is the most fired up we've heard them all game. 24 seconds left.
These Cougar parents want a shutout. And let's see.
Dead ball. False start.
Oh, that's tough for Annapolis.
5 yards.
That'll push them back 5 yards, give them a 4th down and 10.
4th down, 4th down.
Tough break.
I don't care for rules.
Knocking on the door, and that will just help Garden City's shutout bid.
So 4th down, about 9 it looks like they ended up with. 24.4 seconds remaining in this one. And even with the running clock, we're still at 9 o'clock. So didn't really shorten the length of the game that long, but it takes quite a long time to score 42 points.
I think it was just that 5-minute stretch then, the second quarter, that pulled it out. Pushed the length of the game.
Quarterback looks for some help. He's going to run it himself. He's still on his feet, and he'll be tackled by a host of blue jerseys.
And that should be the last play of the game.
Yeah, the clock will run out, and Garden City will come away with a 42-0 victory tonight over Annapolis, one of the most impressive games we've seen Garden City High School play at home in several years, and an outstanding effort tonight by this Cougar football team.
It was, and just dominated the line of scrimmage from the start of the game. It was kind of close throughout the first quarter. We were expecting maybe another tight game like both of these teams have played up to this point in the season. Their points differential being very, very close, each of these teams. But it turned into a blowout, and it was pretty decisive by the second quarter that Garden City was going to come out on top here tonight. Ran the ball effectively, passed the ball effectively. The only trouble they really had was some penalties and a turnover or two. But overall, a dominant performance from the Garden City Cougars, able to move to 3-0 on the season, and they are looking great as we are now at the halfway mark of this shortened 2020 season.
So 2 touchdowns tonight for Robert Grant, 2 for Mike Nazarowski, 1 for Nate Wassel, and 1 for Bryson Chelowa, all adding up to a 42-0 Garden City victory. So that's going to wrap it up from Garden City High School. Again, special thanks to all of the volunteers and everyone who has brought all of these broadcasts to you over the past 2 weeks. Again, we do 6 games in a year normally, not 6 games in 2 weeks. So I want to thank everyone for all of their special efforts. Thanks to Christian Gibbons especially, and Jeremy Jenkins, thanks to you for being with us again for football.
Absolutely.
All right, that's going to wrap it up from Garden City High School. Again, the final, Garden City 42, Annapolis 0. Thanks for watching. Good night, everybody.
Please remember